Keep talking.
Okay.
We're only live on the internets.
Okay, well, we were waiting for you to. You said there was a countdown, and we were trying to be quiet for the countdown.
I was trying to have one of those things where I come in open, where you guys are having like brilliant conversation.
And
then instead you guys were brilliant, and then the thing came on, and I went.
She's a professional director.
I am.
And yet she doesn't direct us.
Well,
doesn't direct us, and she's
you guys
the producer
announced
of this show
several times tonight during sound check, which you can find on www.patreon.com/football that you are talent, and so I just assumed talent knew what they were doing.
You two done? I don't take notes well. She knows that.
I know that.
Grandma's an emotional little flower. You can only feed him with sunshine and thoughts of love.
So I think Shore Billy has to change around where he watches the show at.
Okay.
Sometimes it's Twitch. Sometimes it's YouTube. Tonight it's in the Facebook group.
Okay.
And he's only lurking tonight because the wife does not understand that football is life.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. I get it. Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
That's all right. I'm good with that.
Well, just put us on speaker so she can hear us. She'll understand.
Oh, she'll go, the fuck are you listening to?
He's like, I may have to listen to the replay. Oh, the replay. You mean the show? The podcast. We're a podcast.
Yeah, the actual podcast.
My 12-second Twitch video forgot to mention that, so the whole world's going to end.
Oh, so here's something we'll do. This will piss off Brody. Hey, everybody. This Wednesday, be on the lookout for the Naptown Blues Fancast, which is the other show that I do with.
Why is this going to piss off Brody?
Because we're talking about it here in the in between, so it's not on the show
exist,
and it's not on.
And we'll reference it.
So it does, and we will reference it, which will then drive Brody nuts. Because Brody has children and responsibilities.
He's gotten some unnecessary play today. Let's pick on somebody else. Cool. We like Alan.
But anyways, as I was saying, the Naptown Blues Fancast, which is myself and the Young Hot Freshness, recap the action of the Annapolis Blues in the NPSL. And last year was their first season. We did a whole season. We're coming back again. And our first show will be released on Wednesday. And that first show will be with, pardon me,
badge. There it is.
Former NPSL top goal scorer in the Mid-Atlantic Division and played for the Annapolis Blues, also Georgetown University, and now the 7th overall pick of DC United, one Mr. Jacob Merle.
Nice.
Is our very first guest. We did that interview about a month and a half ago, but man, of course the coughing comes on right as we turn on the fucking mics. But
only have one cup.
Okay.
Here you go, ladies.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll share it.
Do we have more cups?
They're around here somewhere. I don't know. I might have used them all. We'll find something.
Bigby might have taken them.
Yeah, we'll worry about it later.
It's always good to play. Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, I don't see any back over here, so yeah. We'll
Although I need to temper what I'm drinking again because beer is making me sick again.
Okay. Well, I've only got you the one because there was.
That's all I'm going to work on tonight, probably.
Yeah, we did it about a month and a half ago, but the official
announcement
wasn't made. So
it
was fun though. But I mean, we did get to essentially give the kid his first professional interview, which was great. Had him right here in studio. And tomorrow night we have Coach Colin Harriott in here.
Sitting in that seat will be Hiram, but sitting in that seat
it would be Coach Colin Harriott, which
the most beautiful blue Scottish eyes ever.
See, she's stomping
it's like
all
they
over
took
my
the
lead.
thistles from Gold Scotland and just placed them in his sockets.
I mean, it's
that no.
He's got a set of dreamy blues, man.
I found my vape pen. I'm just gonna
get
focus
lost
on
in them
that.
eyes, man.
Is that what she was talking about?
You get lost in them eyes, man. In fact, we were doing our text train.
It sounded
thread.
like she said God skull fucked him.
Yeah.
I mean, he did. When God came. Never mind. That means nope. That's injury time.
That's injury time. Injury time. I was like, hey, is there anything you want us to keep? You don't want us to talk about or anything. It's like, no, we go ahead and talk about everything. I said, heard 10-part comprehensive breakdown question about your dreamy blue eyes. He goes, well, there's one thing we don't have to talk about.
Way to make the fan feel. The man. I'm just done.
Yeah, it's the whole point.
To objectify him.
Yeah, sometimes it is absolutely
The women in the
point.
stands do that enough. I sit with some of the horn dogs. I know. Those are the professional women of Annapolis, drooling over him and Daddy.
I was just about to say, and Daddy. Freaking
Or Elton.
Elton in the back there. Everybody,
I'm so glad he
Daddy.
doesn't speak great English.
The 35-year-old Brazilian that plays center back with
Yeah.
the club. Yeah, they all.
That
they-
once we
they
all
call him
found out he was old enough, they call him
Daddy. Like that's the one they all love. So
I hate that.
or lust after.
I hate everything about that.
Yeah. Well, you just hate it because you're not called Daddy.
I don't want to be called daddy.
He
We
likes
can
to be
throw
called
this-
Poppy.
No, I don't. The Brazilian guy might.
Okay.
Why don't you try to cast Colin? If everybody's one of your stipulations that everyone needed to sit in the audience and cream over him, why didn't you? Why don't you cast him? All they have
Well,
to do,
I
they
would've-
don't care if he can sing or play guitar.
I
Just
would
look at
have
the guy.
asked, except he's coaching the same time the show goes on, and I believe there's a conflict.
Yeah, middle
but that
of
is an
June.
excellent suggestion.
Yeah, it's fine. He can find the time for that.
Not when the shows are every single Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night
For how long?
5
for an
weeks.
entire month.
Yeah, perfect.
The month of June, when every game
Yeah,
is at home.
The Annapolis Garden Theater is not far away from Navy Marine Corps.
Yeah, and the
Catch
shows.
a quick shower.
No, he'd have to catch a quick shower at halftime.
Well, you'd have
and
to be
get
able to play the guitar.
You can find a guitar. It's easier to find a guitar player that's ugly to sit backstage and play and just have him fake the shit.
Yeah, it's so hard to find a guy who's available, handsome, can sing, and play the guitar. Wait, this is Annapolis. No, it's not hard.
No, it shouldn't be hard. There should be.
I just need
plenty
to
of
find one
those.
that wants to play for free. That's where it's hard.
There it is. Yeah, they do.
You
like
got to
get
find
paid.
someone that wants to wear shoes too.
True.
A lot of those types just walk around barefoot and corduroys.
I don't know. That show, you could
mean,
probably
it's-
get away with
it's-
them being barefoot.
It's a Jimmy Buffett musical. There's really nothing all that
Fair.
serious about
Yeah,
it.
True.
I mean, in my callbacks, I looked at the cast, the potential cast. I'm like, hey, y'all, this show is dumb as fuck. I actually, I didn't say the ass fuck part, but I was like, none of y'all read the reviews? Oh, go read the reviews. It's hysterical. And that's exactly why we're going to have fun doing it.
Excellent. All right, we ready to do a show?
Yeah.
Let's do a show.
This is Alan with the Tune Army Baltimore. A gooner and a toffee walk into a bar. Decided to do a shit football podcast. You're listening to the DU Football Show.
Wasn't as shit as the game this afternoon.
Ugh. Theirs wasn't particularly good either.
No,
I don't know why
no.
you gave him the credit of opening the show.
Yeah, it's just we need to load up the board with more sounders.
We
We
do
got
need-
playing of them. Maybe our producer should produce us something.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, but
For
you
a
know,
change.
You know what you did produce? Her fucking vape pen. Let's start the show.
Born in the land of Bowie, Maryland. Bred to be a fan of fucking Everton. Punch you in the eye and drink your rye. Sam Houston.
Sam Houston?
Arsenal fans have another Sam. AKA the fucking Gooner Graham. Smells of a lord. Looks great in shorts. Sam Grammy.
Sam Graham.
Fucking United! Fucking United!
Hello and welcome to the DU Football Show, a completely biased recap of the English Premier League as told by two common American schmucks. I am your host, Sam Houston, and across the way from me, just wanting human contact that isn't a bunch of children, my co-host, Mr. Samuel Graham. How you doing, Sammy?
I'm doing pretty well. How are you?
I'm hanging in there.
A little tired.
Yeah, well, you were over there just kind of shaking your head a lot as we were going through the intro.
Yeah.
Just been a tough couple of weeks there.
Yeah. Wife's back at work, so it's just me and the kids at home these 2 weeks. This is my second of the total of 4. I'm sorry. This is the 4th week, second of this stint of the total of 4 weeks that I have of paternity leave. So
Get back to work and want to take a vacation.
I can't wait to get back to work. Be honest with you. It is it's been challenging, to say the least.
We're recording at the DU Public House just outside the nation's capital. You can check us out wherever you get podcasts. And, of course, streaming live every single Monday night. Should you want to chat with us, there is many ways that you can. Mr. Graham, tell the good people how they can get in touch.
Sure, it's at DU Football Show on all the social medias and dufootballshow@gmail.com to get in touch via email. And if you didn't know, this is a fucking podcast. Find us wherever you get podcasts. And if you like videos, find a video of the podcast.
They're listening to the podcast right now. They've already found us. Mr.
Tell a
Graham,
friend then that doesn't know that watched our TikTok that can't remember it's a podcast.
when you do all the call to action, Mr. Graham, it's a job. You remember
Podcast.
remind everybody constantly that it's a podcast and where they can find it and all the socials that they can find us on as well.
I'm a white guy giving an opinion on a fucking 12-year-old dating app, TikTok. They know it's a podcast.
I don't think they do, and I think you need to make sure.
Podcast.
Again, takes criticism so well, doesn't he? Wonder why we don't tell him anything, because it's like, no, don't tell me I did something wrong.
Graham, you just lost one viewer on the video of this podcast.
Sure, Billy. Tell your wife it's okay. Just listen to us.
Sam and myself both work in the wine and spirit industry and both have a deep passion and love for all things distilled spirits. So is the red-blooded Americans we are. We vow to have a drink in our hand throughout this show and every single show.
Podcast.
Mr. Graham, we have cracked the top 10 of Whiskey Advocate's top 20 whiskeys of 2023. What are we drinking tonight?
Yes, we have, and I will stop doing that. It's annoying me already. This is number 10. As you said, we are coming down.
Podcast! Yeah, it is really annoying, isn't it?
Coming down the home stretch here. So this is the Glendronach Cask Strength, batch number 12. It comes in at 116.4 proof or 58.2% by volume. Should run you around $100, $105, somewhere in that range, and that's about what we found it for.
It can be found. It won't be able to be found for long because it's a singular batch.
Right. Yep. They rated it a 94, and it is a Highland single malt Scotch. Excuse me, and your blurb comes from David Savona. Glendronach is one of Scotland's oldest whiskey distilleries, dating back to 1826, but it has been sold, shuttered, and resold several times. Its return to production in 2002 was great news for Scotch lovers, and today it's under the direction of Brown-Forman Master Blender, Dr. Rachel Berry. This newest iteration is a bold, memorable cask strength, sherry-matured whiskey that comes alive in the glass with chewy, zippy notes of leather, cedar, and honey. Then a wisp of flinty gunpowder accents the sweet finish. This sherry-finished Scotch, how many times are you going to say it, is the kind of drink that cries out for a beautiful scar on a cold winter night. I have to completely agree with that. The wood stands out for me tremendously, as well as the those kind of dark fruit notes right up front from the sherry. Little nuttiness there as well. It's delicious. I'm a massive fan of this.
It's phenomenal.
It's very fucking good whiskey.
It's not overshadowed. The cask finishing doesn't overshadow the whiskey.
Yeah.
The whiskey itself is the star.
100%.
A lot of instances, and I love this about like Speyside and Highland whiskeys is that normally the cask is kind of
Subdued.
Is
bit.
the deal. Like you think of like a sherry finish or something like that, but in this instance, the whiskey's the star. The barrel is the kind of the second.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I see what you're saying. Yes.
Yeah. No worries.
In this one, it's subdued.
Yes, very
Yeah.
much so.
But
Very much
you
so.
do get those fleeting hints of it.
Yeah,
This is phenomenal.
it is,
And I like it a lot better with a cube. It
was
opened up a bit for me.
It was
from when I tried it.
good.
Neat.
It was good, neat. It was very good, neat. You're right. It just got a little more floral. The sweetness kind of stepped out to the front a little bit better.
I think it was a little hot. I think the proof got in the way. Neat,
okay.
in my opinion, of that kind of delicate floral kind of aspect to it.
So
That little bit of water just helped.
Brown-Forman took over a couple of different distilleries. It was Glendronach, Ben Riach, and I forget the third. But they bought all of these distilleries a while back.
I don't know the other one.
And Glendronach and or Ben Riach has been on this list pretty consistently for the past 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
It's been there almost every single time. And every single time I've yet to be disappointed in what they did. We had the Portwood from them, from Glendronach. I know we had a the Little Smoky, from the Ben Ryack as well, and it just well fucking done.
Yeah,
this is
it's an excellent
well
whiskey.
fucking done.
I'm gonna try to find another bottle of this if I can. This is fucking delicious.
Yeah. I would say to people, if you're just an old school Scotch guy, this is a bottle.
100%.
Go fucking find it and go buy it right away. Absolutely, go buy this bottle. It's an A+ for me. This is a great fucking bottle of whiskey. What else should we tell people to do, Mr.
Always
Graham?
remember to drink responsibly while listening to your podcast.
Very good. Let's get it started. Your glass is over there, Sweet Cheeks. Good job.
Sweet cheeks.
Yeah, well, I figure she needs a pet name today. All right, we go ahead. We're going to start again with the top of the table. As Liverpool set the pace, Arsenal answered emphatically, and City didn't. Liverpool 4, Brentford 1, Arsenal 5, Burnley 0, Manchester City 1, Chelsea 1. Impressive win for the Reds. Really impressive win for the Reds, even though it was only 1-0 at halftime. Game was never in doubt, and even as they lost people, it's like Jota's been carrying the load since Salah's out. Jota goes off hurt. On comes Salah, And
It's like perfect timing for them.
it just...
Then Gakpo got in on the action, obviously coming off the bench as well, for a different injury that actually looked not great. This is where, was it Norgard or somebody landed on Endo's, was it Endo's knee?
It was Endo, yeah.
I think.
Well, so Jota, Endo, and Nunez all went out hurt in this match.
Yeah, but Nunez, again, for the second week running, with a very composed, well-designed, relaxed finish.
Yeah.
Wow.
I loved it. Russ sent me a text and he goes, what the hell, what the hell? Aren't you supposed to hit the post? Like, I'm a little disappointed there.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well done.
Captain Chaos has just found his serene happiness all of a sudden. I don't know what that's about. Maybe he went on one of Thomas Tuchel's Indian retreats after he got fired and just found some zen.
Now, here is one thing that's worth mentioning that's concerning. They give up another shutout, another one. They were well in control, and they give up a relatively easy...
To be fair, it was a good goal from Ivan Toney, though.
But he was a relatively open opportunity for him, too.
I mean, that's
he put
fair,
it away, but he just kind of defensive breakdown. And we'll get to talking about Ivan Toney and the Bees in a moment. But is this the weakness? Is this going to be the weakness of Liverpool? Because they don't get a lot of shutouts, and they seem to give up inopportune goals.
But they scored enough. Is the key.
Right.
They're obviously taking it to teams so they can afford to be. Where we've seen occasionally this season, City be unable to break a team down for whatever reason. Arsenal over the festive period be unable to break a team down for whatever reason. Liverpool has survived all of that because their offense is so good, because they always seem to find a way to break them down. So, no, I don't think that's going to be Liverpool's downfall, although I wish it was, obviously. But if you just look, I mean, they have, besides us now, because of successive 6 and 5-0 wins, Liverpool have a better goal difference than City, and they're only one behind us.
Right. Yeah.
I saw a table earlier, top 5 leagues in Europe, most goals scored in the calendar year 2024. So for the Premier League 5 games, Arsenal are 21 goals in 5 games, Liverpool are 20.
Wow.
So there's that 1 goal difference.
Right.
And then it goes like Barcelona, somebody else, and somebody else. PSG maybe or somebody. I don't remember who it was. But it was us and Liverpool right at the top of that table again. So because of that, I don't think this giving up a clean sheet is necessarily a problem. Now, it could very well become a problem when they still have to face the likes of Manchester United, City, some of these hefty derby games again. And we're the only one in the top 6, I believe, that's done with them.
Right.
So that's, great for us. I mean, there's the potential they all take points off each other, and then we just scoot right into first place.
Well, in the next couple of weeks, you get past Newcastle this upcoming weekend.
Which I think we will.
In 3 weeks' time, your games are pretty easy, and they got to play each other.
Yep.
And that's your chance if you're going to jump everybody.
If we're
going
to do it, that's the chance. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But so against a better defensive team, somebody like City or, United recently has been a bit better. Of course, being a derby, you can kind of throw form out the window. We time and time again, a shit team has come up and taken a result simply because it's a derby. That happens very frequently.
Mm-hmm.
I could see Liverpool dropping points because they're a little vulnerable. And if you have a team that's a bit more organized and has a bit better of a defense, then, that normal 3-goal outing becomes a 1-goal outing, and then it's a 1-1 draw.
Yeah, fair.
It's entirely possible.
Now, we just mentioned that Ivan Toney had scored the goal. He just keeps scoring since he's been back. And if only somebody had said on injury time, and if somebody wanted to find injury time, Sam, how would they go about doing it?
Well, it's patreon.com/DU Football Show, and just sign up to that $5 tier. It's very easy. And if you would listen to the sound check perineum, which is that little intro video before the show starts being recorded, Brody, you would have heard that plug already because Mel made it.
And he is, what I was going to say is on that show, I said, you had said it was going to be an easy win for Liverpool, which it did end up being. And I said, watch it be 3 or 4 to 1 because Ivan Toney's going to score.
Yeah.
It was like,
and it eventually became easy. The start was fairly helter-skelter, to be honest with you. It was,
yes.
But I never really got the feeling that Brentford were super dangerous. I mean, that happened a lot. There was a lot of threatening to deceive this weekend from a fair few teams, to be honest with you, where they had a ton of shots or even a fair amount of shots on target, but they were relatively tame. You didn't really feel the danger there, in a lot of those instances. And sometimes, occasionally, in singular weekends, the stats do lie.
Right. And for Ivan Toney, that price tag just keeps going up.
Absolutely.
This summer.
But I'm just
he's going to be $100,000 guy. $100 million
in this
guy.
game, on paper, it looks like Brentford had a lot more of the play than they actually did.
They really did.
Is what I'm saying. They really didn't have a sniff, in my opinion, at all, but just based on the eye test.
Do we think Tony's making a good shout for him to be playing in Europe?
Yeah.
I think he should be playing in the Euros. It's going to be either him or Watkins, and Watkins is finding
I think they
form.
should take both of them because Ivan Toney also likes to drop deep as well.
Yeah.
With Mason Mount hurt, he can cover 2 spots.
It's fair.
He could,
That's a good point. Very good point.
And if you want to bring James Maddison instead of Conor Gallagher, or, Conor Gallagher has played very well in that deeper position. Also, kind of the Jordan Henderson, what would have been the Jordan Henderson role.
Mm-hmm. Couple that with the fact that Calvin Phillips has barely played, and when he has played, has not played well.
So that's going to leave an opening at that number 10 position as a backup to James Maddison. So Ivan Toney can fill any number of those voids, really. I think he's a very versatile player, and as playing as a number 9, though, he does offer a very similar profile to what Harry Kane does in terms of the way he plays. Yeah. But I think you could deploy him as a number 10 flat out. He does a lot of defensive work for Brentford. He does track back a ton.
Absolutely.
And so putting him midfield, I wouldn't be terribly concerned by that. I think that'd be a good move, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, agreed. Now, they set the pace. Right after that, Arsenal takes the pitch against Burnley.
Come on.
And oh boy, did they answer. What was it, 4 minutes in?
4 minutes in, it took Oda to get us off the mark. And then we had a ton of chances. We only gave up 1 or 2 kind of half chances. They ended up with 0 shots on target. Burnley did. Arsenal played a very comfortable, very professional, good game. And for once, were as ruthless as I wanted them to be. It took us, though, until the 41st minute for Saka to get goal number 2. But then a minute and a half or something after halftime, goal number 3. Bang. Put it to bed. And they did. Leandro Trossard on the score sheet again. And then the final goal was from somebody. Kai Havertz.
Got another.
Very cool, calm, collected. So the goal that began last week's onslaught of West Ham, I believe it was that one. It might have actually, you know what? No, it was the first goal against Liverpool a couple of weeks ago. Havertz was clean through and shot. Alisson saved. Saka put it into the empty net. This time, Kai Havertz actually gathered himself, stayed composed, and finished that chance because it was almost a carbon copy, just clean through on his own. Allison obviously is a far better goalkeeper than Trafford, but
Of course.
that it has to be said. But he did finish the chance nonetheless.
Sharing the scoring wealth. Now, this one is worth noting, though. In these 11 goals that you scored in the last 2 games, Martinelli not involved in any of it.
I know.
That's got to be of everything. You're going to be like, come on, man. We'd like get a couple of assists, like just be in and around it. Now he did score 2.
He should have gotten an assist. He pulled back for Odegaard's goal. Nobody gave it to him. I don't know if it took a deflection on the way through, but he intentionally passed that ball to Martin Odegaard in the center.
Right.
I don't know why he wasn't given an assist. My brother actually lost a bet on DraftKings because of that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No shit.
He hit every other piece of his Arsenal parlay except for a Martinelli assist.
Yeah, there we go. Very good.
Yeah.
Now,
But he offers so much more, though. You say that, and that's true. I'd like him to find his scoring boots again. But the outlet that he provides and the way he relieves pressure on our defense is
you have to pay
second
attention to him.
none.
The minute he gets the ball on the outside, you have to focus on
That
him.
has to be said also. Yeah,
But-
it would be doing him a disservice not mentioning the good work he does provide.
But you also kind of, be nice if there was some fucking production going along with it, especially how good,
I feel you.
because he was essentially a double-double guy last year with goals and assists, and him and Saka were right around the same, and it's tailed off for him this season.
Yeah.
It's been, now he did have some injuries, but it's been not the best season for him. Now,
fair enough.
again, you're right, he does provide other things, but if you're thinking about the progression of your team, you'd like to see him kind of building that up and doing better.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love finishing the game out with the old song we had. So most of the Burnley support was gone, obviously, because it was 5-0, and the away section was still completely full with the tune of "Who put the ball in the Burnley net? Who put the ball in the Burnley net? Who put the ball in the Burnley net? Half our fucking team did," which I love. And the fact that it was able to be sung 2 weeks in a row is absolutely brilliant for us.
Excellent. Now, one thing I'd like to finish this on real quick is big credit to Arteta and how he's grown this team from last year. This team is focused, and they are ready for a title run this year, whereas last year it seemed like they were just trying to hold on to their top spot, right? Hold on to their lead. Liverpool goes out there and puts up 4. Arteta has a talk with the boys before the match because you could tell the way they were playing. That's a coach motivating his team right before they get on the pitch.
Yeah.
These last several games, you could tell that is the coach's fingerprints all over that team, making sure they're doing, because this is essentially the same team, right? I mean, you added Raya and Havertz, but for the most part, same fucking team as last year. And they look completely fucking different right now.
Yeah.
They look confident. They look ready to play. It's not these, win 3-2 against Bournemouth at the death, barely hang on to get a tie against Southampton. Like, that's like, this is not that fucking team right now.
That's what makes that West Ham result so disappointing over Christmas.
Of course.
Over that period, it was like, fuck, are we slipping back into this?
Right.
Are we doing what we did last season kind of
Again,
thing? But
credit
they've
to Arteta.
responded brilliantly. As soon as that New Year hit, we've responded absolutely fantastically. Now, the other piece of that, too, I saw an article. Somebody said nobody's talking about this, the kind of over-celebrating stuff that everybody, Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville and everybody's pissed off at us for. You saw how Arteta was going crazy after the Community Shield win at the beginning of the season. And it's not really a trophy anybody gives a fuck about. It's essentially a charity game. It's it's nothing to really write home about. Honestly, winning it is usually a curse.
You're right. It typically is. Normally, who wins the Community Shield
Does not win the league. Right. So what he is doing, though, and this is a take that I haven't necessarily heard from anybody else, is that he's wants that winning feeling. Look how good this is. See how good this feels to win this game, regardless of whether or not you're supposed to feel that way. And just let that breed the confidence and mentality. I want that fucking feeling again. I want it like a drug. He turned it into the sweetest drug on the planet.
Yeah.
Right. And so all of this, like celebrating as hefty as we did after Liverpool and doing this, it's what the piece that I read was that they think that it's Arteta using celebrating as a conscious tactic to instill a mentality into the boys. And it's like, looking in hindsight now after reading that, it's like, that might actually be fucking true.
Yeah.
And it's genius.
Yeah.
If it is, it's absolutely fucking genius.
Yeah, I think we overlook coaching because we're always so quick to point out when coaching is bad, and we're always so quick to point out when coaching is good when it's a team playing above their expectations. But at the top of the table, like, we don't always talk about like how fucking great Pep is or how great fucking Klopp is. As much of a pain in the ass as he is, he's a great fucking coach.
Oh, yeah.
And in these instances and in this run lately with Arsenal, it's not just everybody scoring goals. It's a lot to do with Arteta and how he's motivating and moving that team.
Absolutely. And then there's a lot of goals scored from the bench as well. A lot of chances created from the bench. Mm-hmm. So those players that are coming on are affecting the game. They are changing the game in some instances.
So again, City have an issue putting shots actually on target, despite dominating everything.
Every other statistical category.
Everything. Possession, shots in total, way more shots. Problem was, none of them were on fucking goal.
31. I think they had shots to Chelsea's 9. And I think they only put 7 on target.
Yeah.
And only 3 or 4 of them actually troubled the goalkeeper for a moment. Petrovic was decent in the game.
I believe Chelsea outshot them on goal.
Oh yeah, they
in
did
the match.
Yep, I think it was. I think it might have been 7-5 actually.
Right.
But it was a Sean Dyche masterclass from Chelsea.
It really was.
This is what Burnley did for 6 fucking years.
Right.
It was the ugliest game I've ever seen Chelsea play since Mourinho left. To be honest with you, they completely parked the bus and just kind of picked them off on the counter. And what a beautiful counter it was. The Sterling goal was excellent. They could have had a couple of more. Enzo getting in the way of Nicholas Jackson was very funny. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. We're coming up on 4 months.
Right.
I think I'm going to go back to the doctor on Thursday, by the way.
Already heard.
I thought his reaction was interesting, though. Nicholas Jackson was quite petulant. The little temper tantrum he threw when Endo got in the way of that.
Right.
Took the shot off him, essentially.
Right.
But as Endo Fernandez would have had the better angle running onto it. However, it's his weaker foot, and Nico Jackson's actually a striker on his strong foot. You should have probably left it. Enzo fucked up. But yeah, I mean, Chelsea they just uglied it up. They just hurried them. They stayed in their face. They were strong. They bullied them to a certain extent.
And it seems like every single time City has their back against the wall and is having a hard time breaking somebody down, it's always a rip from Rodri.
Yeah,
it's always from Rodri.
So
it's always from him.
One of the funny, not really funny, but one of the points I heard today on the radio was Rodri seems to only score exclusively important goals.
Yeah, that's it. It's like
he never scores the 5th against Burnley. It's the equalizer against Liverpool. It's the opening goal of the Champions League final. It's the whatever.
What it seems to be every single
only
time.
scores ultra important goals for the club, and that's it. What a special skill.
Somebody needed to fucking score because I mean, even what was it?
The point could prove
Holland missed a sitter.
Oh, big time. A few. He had a couple of open headers even put on target.
By the way, why Peter Drury is just a master at what he does and why it is just liquid sex that comes out of his mouth. He was like, Holland missing that chance. That only comes once in a blue moon. I'm like, goddamn right it is. Listen to you fucking wordsmith, you goddamn genius.
And then afterwards he went ball, dang, blue.
It just, I was like, man, that was fucking styling, man.
Yeah,
he's styling.
He's awesome. Did Liverpool play Roma maybe in the Europa League or something? No, you know what? I think it was Rome. Barcelona. Look up that commentary, and I think it was Peter Drury on the call.
Uh-huh.
But he said something along the lines of it was something along the lines of Rome wasn't built in a day, but it certainly was shattered when Messi's free kick went in or something like that.
Jesus
It's
Christ.
just like it. you could tell that he kind of had an idea of a line he wanted to use, but the manner in which it was delivered, it was like half that had to be off the cuff.
Right.
It was brilliant. But I'm pretty sure it was Rome and Barcelona in your Europa League a couple years ago. But look, that commentary up was excellent.
So, final question. I asked you this about Liverpool and said, is the fact that they can't hold shutouts a weakness right now? Is this goal-scoring drought, is this cause for concern for City right now?
Yeah, absolutely. Because they're again, as you say, they're coming into a bit of a harder point in the schedule where they're going to be facing other teams in that top tier. And if we're scoring goals for fun, 5-4 is a win. 5-2 is a win. 4-2 is a win. 3-2 is a win. That's, that could be concerning for them.
It's going
And
2 right now.
They've been at, well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, 2-1's a win as well. That it's more worrisome for them than it is for Liverpool. They're a bit of a leaky defense. They've not kept. That's why I'm doing so poorly in fantasy. I expected Ederson, Kyle Walker, and Ruben Diaz to be getting me 6 points a week each, and they're not.
No, they're not.
So that defense being so leaky, coupled with a lack of scoring goals, is troublesome.
Yeah.
It absolutely is troublesome.
And the other thing worth
You can leak all you want, as long as you're scoring the goals, you're fucking fine.
right.
That's what we've talked about Fulham how many fucking times. They weren't scoring goals, but they were still getting results because the defense was so good. Now the defense isn't that good the last few games. And they've been on the shit end of the stick on a couple of results because they're leaking. And if you're not going to score the goals, then that's going to be a problem.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the last thing to finally mention, too, is City. Everybody's going, they got the game in hand. They got the game in hand. Well, that game in hand's in this week. And
it's Brentford.
And they should beat Brentford, but Brentford gave them a hell of a time the last time. And if you're having a hard time scoring and you have a keeper that has your number, that could equal disaster. But once that's all
Flecken's been he has more saves in this month than any other keeper does in the season, I think.
It's pretty insane. And with that being said, there's no longer that daunting game in hand hanging over your head anymore.
Correct.
Or hanging over Liverpool's head anymore.
Absolutely.
The final spot for Champions League is up for grabs, and the two sides swap again. And no, we're not including fucking Manchester United in this discussion. They're a bunch of fucking frauds.
No, Sam, I heard they were back.
Aston Villa 2, Fulham 1, Wolverhampton 2, Tottenham 1. Watkins with the brace at the right time. He's starting to find the scoring boots again, and that's big for Villa.
Yes, it absolutely is. But briefly, I do want to take a moment that if you are a member of Drunkard United FC, our closed Facebook group, you will have seen this. If you are not, what are you doing? Get involved. That's where the good stuff is.
That's where all the cool kids are hanging out.
I do, however, want to apologize. I believe it was Taylor, but it might have been Christian, that put Ray's face on a man that was laying in bed. Mm-hmm. That's something I never wanted to see. So I did want to put the disclaimer out that I apologize for that, in case you were offended or somehow otherwise made sick by it.
I know you only want to see Ray sleeping in bed with you. We get it there, stud.
Man United's not back.
that is your best friend.
Man United is not back, so that's all I wanted to say. Villa were excellent in this game, but Fulham were pesky. They stuck around. They had a couple of chances.
Emmy had to make a big fuck save at the end of that match.
He was
to preserve
worried
the
a
win.
couple of times. I think it was Dake Cordova-Reed that put a ball, flashed it right across the face of goal, and Emmy didn't know whether to come or go. But ultimately they just didn't have enough. The goal was brilliant, though. Muniz's goal was fan-fucking-tastic.
That's now 4 games in a row, I believe he scored. This is
what a little
perfect news for
little
Fulham.
touch that was. It was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
You couldn't beat that. But Villa's opener was a bit fortunate in terms of the way that the ball fell to Ollie Watkins. But once it fell to him, it was all complete and utter skill. The excellent turn, perfect touch, the way he used his body to shield the ball and create the space, and then the actual strike itself. It is fucking textbook number 9 play. It was absolutely brilliant from him. Both goals, honestly, were fantastic, but that one in particular was just all himself. Once the ball fell to him, I think it was Leon Bailey, tried to pass the ball to him, deflected off of Willian. Willian tried to pass it to whoever was there, but his little touch, wrong-footed, his teammate. I forget who it was, and it ended up falling to Watkins. Right, so it was a bit fortunate the manner in which the ball came to him. But once that happened, man, it's all fucking skill. It was absolutely brilliant, and they should show that in every training camp on the face of the earth for anyone U12 and under.
And gotta say that's the kind of win Villa's been needing for
definitely.
a while now.
And away
So-
from home as well.
We need to
It'll
pull out of our very small 2-game slump.
Yeah, but still, it's big. And it ended up working out well for you because you move yourself back into the Champions League spot because
we're back at top of the league in 4th.
because it would surprise you to hear that Spurs get everybody back healthy. Everything should be going well. They've looked good for a couple of matches, and they fuck it right off again.
Oh,
Absolutely.
God, you hate to see that.
I don't. I love it. It's brilliant.
As a Spurs
If Arsenal
supporter,
can't win, watching Spurs do this, make it
a
fantastic.
Spurs supporter has to be banging their head against the wall. Now, I'll preface this. Wolves are real damn good. They're a decent fucking side.
They're organized.
Yeah. And they're going and I you know what, I have it in my second comment, but we'll go ahead and talk about it now. They're going to be a tough out for anybody the rest of the season. It does not matter if they are on the road. It does not matter if they are at home. They will be a tough out for every team. If you see Wolves on your schedule, no, you might not come out of that with all 3 points.
What was very important about this game, though, is it's the first one without Mateus Cunha, which is huge.
But-
that they got this
But
result.
Wang was healthy and Wang right back
Right.
in. Neto
Wang actually
looked brilliant.
missed a sitter, actually. But the way in which I'm just saying Cunha's been their best player all season.
Oh, of course.
And the way that they played without him in this match will give them a shit ton of confidence. An absolute shit ton of confidence.
Yeah.
The first half was pretty boring, honestly, until Gomez rifled in that header to the far corners. Fantastic. And that really did lively the game up.
Oh, of course.
Drew Spurs out. That's what the game called for. It was the old cliche of this game needs a goal.
That game
Desperately needed a goal. And it finally came, like I said, in that manner. And then things opened up a bit because you had Spurs at home, obviously being jeered on by the crowd, Son's back, everything else, having to come forward, which created those spaces in the back for Wolves to run into, and Pedro Neto especially to run into and create and try to do things. And it made for the second half being absolutely fantastic. Of a spectacle. And Kulusevski equalizing right after halftime really helped that along as well. Because Wolves went, oh shit, well, like kind of shell shocked and like, let's go get this back. And then they ended up doing it.
Yeah, precisely. And again, I was thinking honestly, and I said I feel like Villa will probably be the team that slides off, but if there's not going to be any consistency with Spurs, and Everton set that blueprint. Fuck with Vicario on corners. He can't handle them, right?
Yep.
And a team like if you're going to be in Champions League, you beat Wolves and you beat Everton. You beat them. That's what you're supposed to do.
Yep.
You beat them, and they didn't. And they got all the talent in the world, and everybody's healthy. I just know if they can't get out of their own fucking way.
The best thing I saw out of this was, you know what optimism is?
Mm-hmm.
Looking at the cup half full. Pessimism is looking at the cup half empty. Spurs, what's a cup?
Rounding out the rest of the league, and so that happened. Newcastle 2, Bournemouth 2, Forest 2, West Ham 0, Brighton 5, Sheffield 0, Man U 2, Luton 1, Everton 1, Palace 1. Magpies have to scrape again for a single point at home for the second time in a row. That's not good for them at St. James's Park.
No, it's not. And it's not going to breed a ton of confidence going into the game against Arsenal, especially because one of those goals was a penalty.
Right.
And I thought a relatively soft one.
I don't disagree.
Personally, I've seen those how many times? I mean, his jersey was being pulled, absolutely. It is a pen, I agree with that. But how many times have we seen that even on VAR review this season not get called?
I remember back when Solomon Rondon was still with our team. in a Brentford match where his jersey was literally pulled completely over top of his head like a hockey fight.
Yeah.
And the ref didn't call it in the box.
Exactly.
For a fucking
It just
pull.
so I find it a bit unfortunate, and a bit of a case of charity, to be honest with you, because there are a number of occasions where shirt pulls are not called
Right.
in this league, and it fucks teams out of points on a regular basis. I kind of wanted it to fuck Newcastle out of points here, but it didn't. Anthony Gordon,
but you know what?
Anthony
I would
Gordon's
say-
penalty was very good, though. I mean, it was a nice strike. Well done.
I think the pressure of being a boyhood Everton kid and being what was supposed to be the savior of the club,
Yeah,
I think it's done him good to get away. I think it's done him a
100%.
world of good to get away.
absolutely.
And he's matured immensely from last year to this year. Like, it was, last year was like, you bought him for 40 million. Thanks for the 40 fucking million. And you're like, you know what? Yeah, he's proven to be worth every fucking penny
but
of that
look-
transfer fee now.
So think also of like, now Eddie Howe, when they were first in the league, Bournemouth were fairly organized defensively. They had Nathan Ake. They had a few players that were very good. But most of their play came via the wings and came in quick counters and came in some decent footballing kind of context.
You think of like Ryan Frazier for that.
Well, exactly. And Ryan Frazier's best year of his entire career were under Eddie Howe. So I almost thought there might have been a Ryan Frazier resurgence when Eddie Howe got hired as Newcastle manager, and there was to an extent. I think he had 2 goals where
Right.
he hadn't scored for about 6 or 8 months or some shit.
right.
But that's Anthony Gordon is very much that kind of player, that running through the channels, kind of off that left wing, cutting in on his right foot towards goal. Eddie Howe's system seems to suit a player like Anthony Gordon,
Fair.
where Sean Dyche, his system does not.
Yeah.
Frank Lampard didn't have a system,
No.
so what are you going to develop there? And then Rafa would be too busy telling him what to do that he wouldn't even be able to train.
You're not wrong.
Had he come through at that stage. So I think it's a pretty important thing for him to be in the system that he's in and develop properly. I think you're absolutely right, getting away from the toxicity that was Everton at the time. Important for his mental health and important for his development.
Dominic Solanke, another goal, 13,
Yep.
third in the league. He's really starting to kind of rub me as one of those like Darren Bent, Jermaine Defoe types that,
Aren't going to play for England, but very much should be in the
and
conversation.
they just gonna score fucking goals for their team. Like they're gonna put up double-digit goals every fucking season for their team. And I have a feeling he's done it now twice in the Premier League since coming back up, and he'll probably do it for another couple, 2-3 years.
Yeah.
He'll be just slot on, boom. And I don't even really see him as like that type of striker that like a Big Six club is gonna go for.
No.
I think he's got his perfect home.
Although he's down our list, apparently. He's like 4th or 5th on our list if we can't get the targets we were looking for.
Right.
Ivan Toney's up there as number 1 or number 2. Victor Osimhen, the Nigerian, is up there as well as, kind of with Ivan Toney as number 1 or number 2. But 4th or 5th on that list supposedly is Dominic Solanke for us.
But ultimately,
It doesn't strike me as a great idea personally.
Yeah.
Some people are kind of bought in on that idea. I'm not. They're like, it could save us $60 million. Like, yeah, but is he going to get us over the line? I don't fucking think so.
he's not going to be the starting 10 for you.
No.
I mean the starting 9 for you, and he's going to probably, score 10 goals for you, all in substitute appearances.
Yeah, exactly.
But
I just don't see it.
What I think Arsenal supporters would expect is that he would come in and score 25, and that's not the type of player he is.
Well, exactly, and that's why I don't fancy him for us in those particular rumors. The other thing I want to say about Newcastle here that's not going to fill anybody with a ton of confidence is if your equalizing goal is scored by some lucky ass Matt Ritchie shit, you're riding by the skin of your teeth. How the fuck did that happen? That hit about 16 people before it came back and hit him again to go in the back of the net. It's fucking
man,
weird, that goal.
I guarantee you Short Belly's going to have something to say about that when he hears the show.
He can say it all he wants. Matt Ritchie's about 45 years old, and that ball would have gone out for a throw-in initially had it not deflected off 2 people, bounced in the air 40 yards, and then came down and just happened to hit Matt Ritchie on his heel while I was looking in the wrong fucking direction.
As massive of a loss last week at the City Ground was for Forest, this was that massive of a win this week for them. I mean, West Ham helped them. West Ham certainly helped them, but Forest has not been winning at that ground And if they want to stay up, this gave them some cushion. This was a big one. You know?
Yeah.
They won, Luton lost. This was a big one for
It's a
them.
big deal. West Ham didn't do much with the possession they had, obviously. Forest were very good value for money. Anthony Alenga was played like a man possessed. I think he had 4 shots on target by himself. Was very good. Awoniyi's goal, just as good as Ollie Watkins, and if not better, honestly. That ball was rifled into him. The first touch was absolutely brilliant. The turn was excellent, kept his balance, and was able to rifle home. It was very technically a good goal from Taiwo Awoniyi.
Also, the other thing worth mentioning, the wheels are falling off the bus for the Irons right now.
Yeah,
Completely falling off the bus.
100%. Now, it's
Now,
easy.
that being said, they're in 8th place.
It's easy for the wheels to fall off when the mechanic is Calvin Phillips. Somebody forgot to tighten a couple of lug nuts. I can promise you that.
All right. So last week.
What an abysmal start to a career at a club, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Responsible for multiple goals, sent off, and it was absolutely deserved, in my opinion, in this case.
Well, you get
the sending off.
get that first yellow. Don't put yourself in about a tackle very quickly after, because if you do, you're already on the ref's mind, and he
It's
may
just
be
stupid.
very quick to pull that second
But
card.
the best thing from this whole game, to be honest with you, the best thing from this whole game was that 92-year-old supporter I shared prior to the show tonight in that same closed group, Drunk United FC on Facebook. The gave up her season ticket because she was losing her eyesight. Thought it'd be better served going to somebody that could see the game, basically. But before she passed, she just wanted to hear their song one more time, like, prior to kickoff. And so somebody associated with the club made it happen, and she was pitch side as the entire stadium rang out.
Sung to her.
So I was fucking, and she's got a little, welling up a little bit. It was fucking brilliant. That's the I was again taking my, pre-show shit right before I left the house, crying on the toilet again as I watched some Pull Your Heartstrings Facebook football video.
Melissa Houston, I've got a lot going on over here. Is her story crying while I'm shitting, the Sam Graham story.
No shit. Every time I sit down, it's like the algorithm knows I'm taking a shit, and it's just like puppy video.
Weepy shit.
Yeah. Puppies seeing their deployed masters coming home. Like, fuck.
The Baltimore Hammers were brilliant. They sent us a video on the closed group as well
Yes.
of them singing a song slagging off Moyes and how it's all going to shit. We were talking last week about Moyes and
Or as we call it, smoky porn.
right. We were talking about Moyes and the past managers, Big Sam and Pellegrini, where they had really good success, but it wasn't very attractive style of football, and that maybe you guys should be happy with the fact like this guy won you a fucking European title, a title you haven't won in a very long time, any title you haven't won in a very long time. Scotty sent me this message. Just caught up on the podcast. You're 100% correct in your assessment, and I'm 100% going to continue to bitch about it because I'm a whiny, insufferable little fuck.
Brilliant. At least he's self-aware.
Just be like, yep.
Yeah. All right.
Be like, don't care. We're still going to bitch about it.
So here's the other problem, and this is arguably somebody else's assessment because we're not obviously as close to some of the detailed proceedings as the English media are. So it's something I heard on another show, but I think it speaks volumes. The Dildo Brothers are kind of back and forth as to whether or not to offer Moyes a new contract. So it's kind of got everybody in limbo. Like, is he going to be the guy? Do we support the guy? Are we voicing our frustrations? What are we going to do? Like, the ownership needs to take the initiative to say one way or the other, because it is their responsibility, and as supporters we sometimes just have to live with those decisions. Is this going to be the guy or isn't this going to be the guy? Are you going to renew his contract or aren't you? David Moyes is out at the end of the season. We're going to stick with him. There's no chance of relegation, realistically.
Right.
So we're going to choose to not renew his contract. Now, if he wants to step away right now, he's more than welcome to do so, but we'd like him to continue on through the end of the season.
We'd like to
Why
go
not
after
just-
a Europa title.
Why not just finalize that?
Yeah, it's not hard.
Why not do that?
And you
Why
can't
not
say
say,
that
or
doesn't
this
affect-
is our guy, and extend the contract? At least you give the supporters an idea of what you're going to do.
And you can't say this, you can say, hey, players are professionals. They need to fucking, ignore this shit. You can't ignore
They're
this shit.
human beings, man.
You can't ignore this shit because if he's not your guy, it's either the farewell ride like you're getting with
With
Klopp,
old Yergy boy, Windy man.
or people just check out. Like,
Uh-huh.
well, you're not going to be here next year. I don't know if I'm going to be here next year. I need
Right.
to worry about my health. I need to worry about my value.
Exactly. Calvin Phillips is doing just that. He got a game off.
Very
Fucker.
good. What a horrific tackle from Holgate. I can't believe that was just a yellow and they had to go look at it.
So the only thing I can think is that he saw the ball get got, I guess, by his trailing leg. I don't know that he was in the best angle to see the actual contact of his boot
Yeah.
on Matoma's thigh.
Yeah.
But, because that trailing leg does get the ball and the ball goes rolling in the opposite direction. So,
Right.
okay, cleaned him out, yellow card. Like, I can understand that initial thought. This is where VAR was in good use because the players were still fighting and he was running over to the monitor because the VAR was already in his ear. Nah, you got to look at that.
Yep.
That's a red.
That's a red.
That's a definite red.
That's a red.
I mean, honestly, I made the joke on online that the South Yorkshire police should probably get called because there was an attempted maiming. And then I was very quickly put in my place, I believe by Shore Billy, actually, that reminded me that the last time the South Yorkshire police got involved in a footballing matter, there was no justice for 96 people for 30-odd years. I said, you're absolutely right.
And then David Geckel, I believe, said, "Do you really think South Yorkshire police actually, do any policing?"
Yeah, exactly right. And you're 100%.
It was horrible. I mean, it was.
I mean, you're supposed to be a professional footballer. The fact that you are running full bore at this ball and manage to whiff is a problem in and of itself.
Right.
But to then make contact, full, complete contact with the middle of your foot into the thigh of the opponent.
Could have snapped his fucking bone in two. I mean,
Easily.
it was that fucking hard of a hit.
If it wasn't his femur, Matoma's leg would have been broken.
If that was his knee, it would have fucking, you would have saw
ACL
the
would have
bottom
been
part
done.
of his leg fucking just dangling.
100%.
It
Absolutely. It was terrible. It was absolutely fucking terrible. I mean, I joke around. That was fucking assault.
He was. It absolutely was. It was
bad.
horrific. And for Holgate, he hadn't been getting any time at Everton since Ancelotti. He did real well under Ancelotti, and then he has been very poor since. Got sent to Southampton on a loan. Southampton went, "No, you can have him back. We don't need him. We're all good. You can have him back."
Well, here's the other thing. He's obviously dumb, Mason Holgate, because he's an agent of Everton, out and about. Well, Brighton are too far above you for you to catch them, so injuring Matoma is not going to help. But getting sent off for somebody so far below you doesn't really help either.
Right.
So Agent Holgate just took himself out of the equation for the important games.
Right, which is coming up. Yeah, it just makes no
Should be
sense.
trying to take out Eze.
Yeah, it just,
Or Awonyi again.
Right.
Or whoever. If you're going to play, double crossing lone man to save your parent club. But instead, it's just what a bonehead. I wouldn't be surprised if the 3-match ban gets actually upped.
I
to
wouldn't
be honest
be
with you.
surprised either. This, too, it didn't matter that red card and sending off happened. Seagulls were dominating from the get. They dominated from there on out. They absolutely manhandled Sheffield.
Oh, 100%. That absolutely helped. But Sheffield weren't showing anything that were going to change this result other than maybe it was only going to be 3-0.
It's funny because we talk about
I won a lot of money on this game, too, by the way.
massive turd they took in the middle of the field 2 weeks ago. Then they go to Luton, they play their asses off and look good and look like there's some fight. And then you turn right back around and you throw in this absolute dog shit of a performance.
It makes absolutely no sense. And what's his? How do you pronounce his name? Anil Amadozic.
Yeah,
Amadozic.
I believe so.
Their captain. Anel is probably how you pronounce it, but I'm going to call him Anil because apparently he doubled down in the post match. I don't know if you saw this.
No, I did not.
Still don't see why it's a red card for Mason Holgate. Wow. Now, we should point out, he's one of the ones that pays for Twitter. Needless to say, He has some spicy viewpoints.
Shocker.
And
I
his
guess-
first name's Anal.
I'm gonna guess him and Joey Barton follow each other, and I like a lot of what they have to say.
Wouldn't surprise me, to be completely honest with you. I mean, it was pitiful. I have an opinion on you, Crystal Palace, and Sheffield United. And I'll wait to tell you that until we cover your game at the end of the show.
Okay, very fair. I can go with that. United score early, but they have to fucking barely hang on.
It's a weird fucking game, this one.
It really was. It
It's a weird
really
fucking
was.
game. Luton obviously gave another great account of themselves.
Right.
As you say, that United were kind of hanging on. I was surprised to learn that Manchester United had 9 shots on target. I mean, I watched this entire match, and I didn't feel like they were particularly dangerous.
Right.
I do enjoy a chested goal, though. We got one of those. Rasmus Højlund.
Yep.
Got a chested goal. Holland had used normal parts of his body and couldn't score, so.
Right. Precisely.
We're back, bitches. Psych. Then, obviously, it almost felt like a smash and grab. Like they grabbed.
Except for it was like a smash in the first, 4 minutes, and
Yeah.
then
Instead of right at the end.
right.
They walked in, they smashed the jewelry case, they stole the watch they wanted, and then they sat there and talked to the clerk for a bit.
Until the cop car pulled up, and then they ran
And
away.
then they ran away. It's weird. But I never thought United were particularly dangerous after those opening 2 goals.
They had a couple of breaks in the second half, but Kaminsky made nice saves
But that was
to
it.
keep them out.
Yeah,
and
there was nothing really of note, to be honest.
I often, I kind of listen to what, commentators say and where they are, and if they're kind of, if we're on right track, if we're thinking kind of the same way. And we talked about it last week. We were like, United are frauds. Don't believe it.
Yeah.
Just don't believe it. And Rebecca asked them both at the desk, and they're like, no. They're like, oh, do you think they got a shot at Champions League? No.
Sure don't.
No, there's nothing about them that's impressive. Like, Robbie Harrell's just like, no, they're not doing anything that shows you any real sign other than they're getting 3 points. That's the only thing they're doing.
The player of the season for me so far is Mainu, that young kid. He's been brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
He's dragged them out of a lot of sticky situations. This whole game kind of, just as I was watching it, the first thing that came to mind, and it's a reference for the kids, is the early Star Wars movies.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if you got 2 battalions of stormtroopers to try to shoot at each other. And the best thing that happened is the goal standing still because they couldn't fucking hit it to save their lives.
Yeah.
I was very surprised when I looked at the stats, and I said this to you pre-show. Actually, between the 2 teams, 13 out of the 43 shots were on target, which is roughly, it's just over 30%. And I was very surprised to learn that.
And you were like, because it sure as
It
hell
didn't
look
feel
like it this way.
it. Yeah, it didn't feel like it at all. I was very surprised.
Now we talk about Luton having a good account, having a good account of themselves, but they're starting to crack, man. They're starting to get beat in their building, and that's if they're going to want to stay up. Results in that building at the end of the year are
gonna matter big
very
time.
fucking important, and
It's also recently announced that they're going to be moving grounds in the next couple of years as well. So make these memories at Kenilworth Road while you can.
Mm-hmm.
That's the other thing. You got to shore that place up as fast as you can.
it needs to be an absolute fortress.
Yep.
It has to be a fortress.
But I still think they did a lot of good things in this game, and I think they'll be comfortable going into those last couple months of the season, where they're just a bit more. They've got a bit about them there. They're starting to play.
Right.
You know what I mean? Where those first 5, 6, 7, 8 games of the season, largely wasn't at home, but they were just getting their ass fucking handed to them. It was pitiful. But what's his name? Not Gary O'Neill, the other one. Gary O'Neill's Wolves. What's his name? Rob Elliott, the manager of Luton. Why am
I'm
I
fucking
spazzing?
blanking. I'm blanking. It is Rob. I forget. I'm blanking.
Whatever.
But
I don't know why I'm
please,
spazzing.
continue.
But he's got them. He's got the energy levels in the team. He's got the desire and the willingness to run and to try and to do things. And didn't help Adebayo. Adebayo was out this game as well. I think it could have been a bit different had they had their main man up front. But he's got a very good feeling about the place. I've never seen a loss like this at home and the team gets clapped off.
Mm-hmm.
The fans are right behind them. They've got a real good feeling there.
Yeah.
So I think they'll be thereabouts. I mean, they're still not a very good team, though.
Yeah, true.
And y'all's draw, as we're going to come on to next, obviously took you out of the relegation zone and put them in it. So they're in a tight spot, you know. But if Palace don't win like 2 out of the next 3, they're in the very fucking thick of it.
Right.
And I think Luton can gain some confidence from that as well as you guys.
Yeah, well, here's where something that as we move on to that match, after the match, the desk for NBC Sports was like, oh, yeah, they made the new manager change. They'll be fine. They'll be fine. They got a point today. They're 5 points out of safety. I'm like, no, they won't. And real simple. This was a dog shit match. Everton started to push in the second half. IU scored a fantastic goal. Credit where credit is due. I don't think if he scores that goal, Everton probably would have scored because they were starting to push the narrative and probably would have won. But instead, because they went behind, Everton had to scrape and barely get away with the draw and was not impressive. Neither team looked good in this match. So that's all I have to say about that. I'll let you have your thoughts, but then I have other thoughts to talk about, which is more about the state of both of those teams.
Okay. So watching this game, and I'm going to couple in Sheffield United's performance, as I told you before, with that as well. Both of Everton and Crystal Palace's part, since I've made a 1970s movie reference, I'm going to make a mid-90s movie reference now and bring it a little bit closer to normal times here. Billy Madison.
Yes.
Do you remember at the end of the movie when he went on that diatribe on stage when he was trying to get his degree?
Thank you, Miss Lippy.
Yeah, and the host of the proceedings said something along the lines of, I don't understand the dribble that just came out of your mouth. We all are actually stupider for having heard what you've had to say here today.
May God have mercy
May
on your
God
soul.
have mercy on your soul. Blah, 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 blah. That was this game. The only sentence I wrote is both teams should be ashamed of themselves and probably docked points for having had all of us watch that absolute dross.
Oh, it was a horrible game.
And I include, again, Sheffield United in that sentiment. This was worth at least 3 points for me from all 3 of your clubs. This is fucking pitiful.
It was bad.
Ugh.
It was bad. The new coach coming in, former Rangers manager, I think they'll be okay missing Mark Gay because Chris Richards is slotted in just fine next to Joachim Anderson, so that should be okay. Cenk Decore.
Did he coach Rangers as well?
Yeah, I believe so. It was Rangers.
Huh.
It might have been Celtic. I could be
No,
wrong.
no. He also coached in Austria and Germany. I didn't know he coached in the UK at all.
Yeah, I believe he coached it.
I think
is what they were saying.
Mönchengladbach maybe was his last job. I don't remember exactly.
But continuing the Cenk Decore, they've been missing. They've been missing him all year. There's nothing you can do about that, right? But it feels like Richards will be fine.
Could
They'll
have
be
brought
fine
somebody in January.
They'll be fine without nobody brought anybody in January because everybody's afraid of what happened to Everton's going to happen to fucking them.
That's fair.
But Richards will be fine there. If he does not have Eze and Elise, they are fucking going down. If they're not healthy, that team is fucked. Because that team cannot produce offense without one of the two, if not both of the two, on the fucking pitch.
Yeah, I mean,
it is that fucking simple.
It's that dire. You're absolutely right for them. I mean, it all comes down. And the worst part about it for them is it used to only be one player. They lived and died by Wilf.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they live and die by 2 people, and both of them are unfit.
Now, the big thing for the Toffees that we find out is a few things. One, a Saudi consortium that allegedly killed a fucking member of the American press got approved to be owners of a club faster than the 777 group has been, because, finance bros, they're the worst. Like,
I mean, you've seen Wolf of Wall Street. They are pretty bad.
they're still waiting to, like, they still haven't approved it yet. And Everton keeps getting money loaned. Right? If they don't approve the deal, 777's already said we're going to turn right back around and go, we want our fucking money back, Everton. And they're going to be real fucked then. You think they're in financial problems now, right? Be a real fucking problems then.
Well, the finance bros, you know what the worst part is I don't understand why they haven't just sent Margot Robbie into the negotiations.
Exactly.
I mean, a little Aussie wink smile from that blonde bombshell, and I think the deal will get done pretty fucking
probably
quick.
Figure it all out. We are supposed to finally figure out what has come from the appeal in the next 2 days, is what we have now been told. And in fact, Sky Sports has been already notified of what the ruling is.
Well, then do your job as journalists and fucking release the information.
Report it. Which brings me to this. Jamie Carragher posted this as a tweet about a week ago, and I don't disagree with what he said. What is the holdup on the appeals decision regarding Everton's 10-point deduction? 2 weeks have passed, and well, now it's been 3, and it's surely a matter of urgency for Everton and the clubs around them. I'm sure they and the PL know their decision by now. Are the PL waiting until after Everton's home game on Monday because they fear a reaction? I think absolutely they do. I don't think we're getting anything back. I think we're getting fucked.
Could be. Or you're getting enough back to put you over Palace.
Yeah.
And they fall deeper into it.
And I don't think we're getting anything back, man. I'm terrified now.
You absolutely could be. Correct about that. I don't know what to do, because this entire process is unprecedented.
Yeah.
And I think personally it's gone about the entire wrong way.
And the Everton and Forest charges that are up currently are supposed to be solved and taken care of before the end of March. The appeals may not be heard or finalized until the 24th of May. There's a problem there.
The last week of the season, or the season's already done. I haven't looked at the
season's already
schedule.
fucking done.
Right. And this is why you handle these disciplinary issues during the summer.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knows the results. Everybody knows where they stand at the start of the season. The first moment the ball's kicked, we know what we got to do. Appeals have been heard. Everything's finished.
It's over.
The matter is done. And this, for me, and I've said this from the beginning of this entire process, hurts the integrity of the league and the competition in my eyes.
This isn't
Do
fair.
Luton play the same way against Manchester United if they know that Everton's getting 5 points back, or if they're getting docked an extra 2? How do they go about their business?
Right.
Does Palace risk Olise a few weeks ago if they're not worried about Everton getting 5 points back and potentially, overtaking them? Does, whoever go about their business in the manner that they're going about it without a definite result here? It affects multiple teams. Obviously it affects you all the worst. Mm-hmm. But what I'm saying is the broader picture is it hurts the integrity of the league. It compromises the integrity of the league. And those corruption banners y'all held up, papers y'all held up, signs you held up, seems to be ringing true for me.
Not wrong.
Sure money.
Well, as sure as the Premier League is corrupt, I lose another bet.
Mm-hmm.
My couple losers. Fucking Newcastle. Yet again. Fucking Newcastle. Absolute dumpster fire, these cunts.
Okay. Go ahead and put that into the couple losers, because
I got it.
Because I don't need to put anything in the couple losers.
It's almost as if Steve Bruce is back in charge. Get me a sausage roll and I'm going to have it cry on the toilet. Love when things come full circle, Mel.
I hit again, and I continue to chip away, and I am now down only $244.
Big Sam's Lock of the Week.
23.076923% of the time. Works 100% of the time, Mr. Graham. I'm going to do another small parlay. Like I said, I just want to keep just nicking away at the deficit here, and I am going to go with Liverpool to win and over 3.5 goals versus Luton because it is at Anfield.
Yeah.
I think this is a 3-1 or a 4-1 for me because
Okay,
I do
fair
think
enough.
Liverpool's going to give up a goal.
And Salah's back.
And that's on
That helps.
Wednesday. And then I am taking Wolves to beat Sheffield over the weekend at plus 198.
Okay. There you go. So 2 separate bets.
And it's a parlay.
Oh, you parlayed it. Oh,
so
the
it's
total is.
yeah,
I gotcha.
It's a 3-gamer. I mean, it's a 3 parlay because there's 2 things on the first game and 1 thing on the second game.
Got it.
But nice and easy. Nothing too crazy.
Nothing major. Okay.
And now, it's time for our degenerate gambling friend Pat's Pick of the Week.
As another 90 reference comes in here, back-to-back winning weekend. Psych! We're bringing the psych back. This is old Pat's email. Quote, I thought my bet was looking good until Tottenham had to screw me with a loss. So I'm down $1,670. And this week I'm just taking one winning bet on one team. I like Crystal Palace over Burnley, and I'll risk $105 to win 100. Palace beat Burnley 2-0 earlier this season at Turf Moor, so I like my chances this weekend at Selhurst Park. You ladies and gentlemen have a good week, and good luck in your gambling.
Not a bad bet. It's going to be the new manager bump.
Yeah.
I tend to agree. With it.
Could be, yeah. I Burnley are in such a bad way.
Yeah.
And we didn't really talk about it as much. Burnley are in a really bad way.
Mm-hmm.
We more gloated on Arsenal. Obviously, fair enough.
That was
I
the
think.
point. Honestly, it was the point to talk about. We have had, as games have gone on throughout a season each year, when a team starts to just get real bad, it's like, what are you going to say?
Yeah, they're bad again. I did enjoy though, and thought about signing up and inviting Brett as our +1 as my +1 for JJ Watt's little contest.
I did see that.
To get over to Burnley. 'Cause apparently Burnley's a great night out, as we saw from his Instagram stories a few months ago.
Yep, exactly.
Which I can live with that.
But the key thing Mel and I would want to know is if we went over there with JJ, do we get to play a game of tag?
It's time to play tag.
Bit better if you weren't muted.
Let's play tag.
I liked your first take.
All right, Mr. Graham, what do you got for your bet?
The other piece to that though is I am worried that if I wanted to go out for my 16th pint with JJ, I might try to get converted or something.
There's some point in the night you
Or
will definitely try to
saved.
tackle.
Yeah.
You will definitely try to tackle him at some point in the night.
Who, JJ?
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. He's going down too, motherfucker.
It's going to be the comedy. All night, him walking around and you just bouncing off of him at different angles. Mid-conversation, here's Graham. Smack right off of him.
I think I could do some damage. He's retired now. So I'm now down $1,147 because of the fucking dumpster fire that is Newcastle.
Not good gambling.
No, sure wasn't. So this week, all I've got is 7 legs to save the day. Excuse me. I've got Liverpool.
9-way parlay.
7. I've got Luton. Fuck. Now I can't read. I've got Liverpool to beat Luton with over 2.5 goals and Mohamed Salah to score on Wednesday. City to win over Brentford on Tuesday. Villa to beat Forest. Brighton to beat Everton. And Arsenal to beat Newcastle. And that 7-legger brings me plus 767 on a $100 bet.
Get it the fuck together, Sam.
Oh, it's coming together. And I'm going to storm right into the win in these last 3 months of the season with no problem as usual.
Do you remember what Everton did later in the season last year when they went to Brighton?
Don't remember what you did at Brighton. I remember you lost to us 5-0 on the final day, though.
Yeah, well, we kicked the ever-loving shit out of Brighton when we went into their building last year.
I don't think you're going to this time.
Yeah, no, we're probably not, but I just want to put that little doubt in your head.
I think that, no, there's no doubt. I'm fine.
Not good gambling.
We already used the button. It's kind of played out now.
You know what is good
actually.
gambling? I'm doing it for the
you're
fucking
setting
segue.
yourself up.
It's not
Yeah.
always for
Wow.
you there, stud.
Who pitches to themselves,
Oh,
Mel?
I was just going to say, he argues with Adam, but you never argue with a chicken.
Mel for the win.
Well, Kitty's run has come to an end with Forest win and sits at 14-10. So this week, I gave Kitty Man United hosting Fulham. Now, Kitty showed me a picture of her and Harry Styles from Kenilworth Park this past weekend for Man U's victory over Luton.
Oh, shit.
Now, would it surprise to hear you that John Benson, man of mystery, took that photo?
Excuse me, international man of mystery. Get it fucking
Sorry,
right.
Fuck
John
off.
Benson, international man of mystery, took that photo?
Well, no, wouldn't surprise
What
me. one
happened
bit.
after I left? What was this circle jerk like over here?
Oh, John and Kitty hit it off because it was like a who's who, which concerts they went to, who
yeah.
had better seats, who knows Taylor Swift more.
There was a lot of conversations going on with
Yeah,
them.
I think they're dating, but you didn't hear that from me. Now, John has no ties to this match, but Harry is a massive United supporter. So Kitty is definitely taking them to beat Fulham and win their. This can't be right. Their 6th match in a row.
Yeah, it would be their 6th match in
Very
a row.
Fulhamish. And do you know what is extra Fulhamish?
What's that?
Remembering to gamble legally and responsibly.
Fantastic. Well, that is going to wrap it up, boys and girls. Mr. Graham, any parting words?
If Benson's dating Kitty,
Sorry, Benson, that just came out of my mouth before I thought the
I was
memes.
saying
It is
international man of
over
mystery got to
now.
watch himself because there's a fox with a can of Red Bull and a pack of smokes and a broken bottle of Tito's that might have an issue with it.
Tony
Oh, good
Mayfield.
Lord, what did I just start?
I wonder.
Got 10 jellies, I'll be fine.
I wonder if I'm just remembering more lyrics now, dickhead. I wonder if their first dance was chicken 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 head.
Very good. Parting words there, stud.
I know it would have been funnier 30 seconds ago, but then I'm just now I've got Buckfast Rhapsody in my head, and I can't stop thinking about lyrics from that song. I don't really have any parting words. to be
There's your
honest with
parting
you.
words.
Because
Yeah, everything's
fuck
fine.
all really matters. Any cunt can see. Fuck all really matters to me.
What I actually it was very quiet in the chat, Mel. You've been on your phone a lot, farming strawberries.
Absolutely nothing going on in the chat.
Really?
Yeah, it's a quiet night.
We're funny.
You know what? Everybody was up late last night because it was
A Monday
a Monday holiday, and so now they're having to catch up on sleep.
Oh, also, cheers to the Cillian Murphy,
Yep.
first Irish actor to win a BAFTA for the lead male actor, the quote unquote or best actor in a film.
Yep.
I don't think it's male anymore. I think it's just best actor.
Best actor. Very
Yeah.
good.
First Irish-born person to do so.
Huh.
Well done.
That's pretty cool.
And he stood up, and part of his acceptance speech was, "Should I sing a rebel song?" Yeah, get in, son.
I watched part
Another
of
man
it.
with dreamy blue eyes.
I
Actually,
watched part of it through Bark Ruffalo's Twitter.
nice. Who?
Exactly.
All right, everybody. Next up is going to be Injury Time, where we check in on our adopted club. We talk about the beers we were drinking. We'll do a little bit of a check-in on our fantasy because there's still games to be played. But we also preview the next week's action. And should somebody want to find Injury Time, Sam, how do they go about doing it?
It is patreon.com/D Football Show, and just sign up to that $1 tier and you get all the extra content.
Excellent. Be sure to check out our Drip Shack and, of course, our EFL show where we recap the rest of the English Football League, which had quite a bit of fun shit going on this week.
Yeah, there is. And near and dear to our hearts, just as a little precursor, Portsmouth are absolutely fucking flying.
They are. They
I
are
love it. I
fucking
love everything
on
about
fire.
it. Come back, baby.
Till next week, everybody.
Good night.